Welcome back to Old Truthford, the home of honestly biased sports content. This is the match reaction to Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 0 at home at Old Trafford. In a game where realistically it was a test of complacency. We were looking to see if we could continue the form that we saw in the Carabao Cup, albeit a weakened Crystal Palace side that we faced. We wanted to see if we could do the double over them, but sadly we've come up short with the starting 11 that you see in front of us. Just going over player ratings now, I'm just going to go through them, but it's Groundhog Day essentially for all Manchester United fans, because what we've seen here is what we've seen throughout the entire season. We see that we start off well, we take control of the match, a goal is scored against run of play in the middle of the first half, we end up 1-0 down, the frustration kicks in, the heads go down, and the belief of getting back into the game is kind of missing from this team. And then we obviously go on to the second half. We know that we need to score. We pile on the pressure, and as soon as we build momentum, we get a potential penalty shout, which in my opinion it was a penalty, and we're not given it by the refs, which leads to the players putting their heads down again, because not only have they put their heads down because we're 1-0 down, but they think the refs are against them. And there's enough evidence now to suggest there is. With that ball that was crossed from halfway across the pitch, landing on a Crystal Palace player's hand, changing the flight of the ball, I don't see how that can't be given as a penalty. Even if he wasn't looking at the ball, it changed the outcome of that play. So I'm just dumbfounded in all honesty on why that wasn't a penalty. But yeah, Suhan, so stressful. I have no idea how we didn't win that match, honestly. Again, it's the wrong decisions in the final third by many players. The ref's a joke, honestly. It's a combination of factors. And it just feels like we can't break out of this groove. But yeah, moving on to the player ratings. Onana, I'm gonna go for a 6. I don't think he could have done too much about the goal that Crystal Palace scored. I'm also gonna just quickly change this from Burnley to Crystal Palace. But yeah, I think Onana 6. Couldn't do too much about that goal. Made some decent saves. Varane, I think he was solid all game. Made a last-inch tackle after the first goal was scored that very well could have led to being 2-0 to Crystal Palace, and would have also followed the trend of, as soon as we concede a goal, within 5 minutes we concede a second goal. So Varane prevented that this game. So I think he had a solid match. Lindelof, I don't think he was too involved. Can't think of too much he did, so I'm going to give him a 6.2. Amrabat, I think he was involved in the game. He can only do so much at left back. I'm going to give Amrabat a solid 6.8. Delo got into plenty good positions, but his crosses didn't really find anyone. He created that chance for Mount when he crossed it, but then Mount couldn't keep it under. So yeah, I think slightly above average for Delo. He again, even though the goal came from his side, he couldn't have really done anything about that. The man hit it on the half volley, so he couldn't really avoid it. As for Casemiro, I think Casemiro had an interesting match. I would say Casemiro, I'm going for 6.6. Actually, I'd probably go with 6.7. I think he had a slightly better game than Delo. I think he was more involved, but again, not the standards that we're looking for. Mount, I think he was involved. I think he was pushing the forward players to get into positions more. I'd give Mount 6.9. I think he had a decent game. In all honesty, I think it was a lot more lively. Got into scoring positions, and yeah, I think he did decent. Is Alvaro Fernandez on loan? If not, play him. We need to hammer about him in the middle and Mount out of the team. Yeah, he's on loan. I don't know if we can get him back or what we'd have to do to get him back, but yeah. Fernandez, I'm going to go with solid 7.1. Would I go with Fernandez? I think Fernandez was lively. I think maybe 7. I think he was definitely pushing us forward. I think the main area where we came short today was the front line more than anything. These three are the people where I'm kind of questioning at the moment. Pellistri was warming up in the second half. He was just getting started, but he didn't. Again, he's not really taking this opportunity with two hands, is he? Pellistri below average. I'm going to give Pellistri a 6.1. Rashford. Again, I don't think he was that bad. I think people are going to make it out more than it was. But like you said, Suhan, he was wasteful today. And it definitely wasn't his best game. I'm also probably going to give Rashford, I think because Pellistri's a bit younger, I will give him a 6.1, being a bit lenient. With Rashford, he's playing in his favoured position, left wing, so there's no excuses really. I'm going to give him a 5.9 for today. I didn't have any confidence when he was on the ball at all. Højlund. Now, people are going to say that I'm being a bit harsh with Højlund here, but again, he's only 20 years old. He's still got so much more to develop. But Højlund, he was at fault for the first goal. Had he kicked that away rather than headed it, perhaps it wouldn't have cost us that much. So I think Højlund, he's got to pay somewhat of the price of that. So I'm giving him level with Rashford, to be honest. I think he was poor. Jehan, anyways, it was nice to have a chat during the match, regardless of the outcome, but gotta go. See you in a bit, Jehan. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, those would be my player ratings. Let's move over quickly to the Discord edition. So let's work out this for everyone. With Onana, he got an average score, if my calculations are correct, of 4.9. So Onana's gone with 4.9 here from him. With Varane, Going to move on to... Okay, so Varane picked himself up. Varane picked himself up a score of 5.6, which, to be honest with you, I don't think Varane had a bad game. I mean, we conceded the goal from the set piece, but yeah, 5.6 for Varane. And let's work out what the Discord have voted for Lindelof. 66, so we're on 5.5 for Lindelof. Now we move over to Diogo rather, Delo. I'm not gonna lie, it feels like I've just gone to a funeral watching that match. It's a bloody mess. It's been an absolute bloody mess. My Palistri is down here. Okay, so Delo going with a 6.1. If only we were more clinical. We didn't create too many chances, Suhan. It wasn't even that we were wasteful. It's just there's no patterns of play. There's no chemistry with the front line. I don't know what's really going on with them. We still haven't worked out how to beat a team that just sits back. Okay, Amrabat picked himself up a 6.1 also with Delo. Let's have a look. What would people vote? Casemiro's performance. So they have gone with a 5.3 for Casemiro. 5.3 for Casemiro. And for Mount, we've gone with a 5 out of 10, so he's just above Onana in terms of the worst performances that we've seen. Obviously, it wasn't Eriksen here, it was Fernandes. Fernandes found himself with yeah, Bruno was really quiet today, wasn't he? I feel like Mount and Bruno are just looking to occupy the same spaces. It's not really... But instead of doing 1-2s with each other and working their way out of the spaces, they're just kind of there. Fernandes gets the same score as Onana with a 4.9. And I'm not looking forward to seeing what Rashford got, to be honest with you. I think he will definitely, yeah. Rashford's being given a 3.6 by everyone. Now, if we're being fair, Højlund should get a fairly low score here because the goal that we conceded came from him. But let's see if people factor that into their decision making. Okay, Hoyland has picked himself up a 4.9, which again I think is a bit generous considering we conceded our goal through him. Pelistri, let's have a look. Pelistri has picked himself up a 4.7, so we're liking what Pelistri saw. So Marcus Rashford has definitely been selected as the worst player in that match, and it's a mix between Delo and Amrabat for man of the match. I don't know about this, to be honest, guys. In all honesty, it wasn't a good match overall for anyone. We dominated in every aspect other than the one that mattered when it comes to goals. And yeah, I think it's definitely one to forget. But yeah, let's see what you're saying, Suhan. It was a mess. There was no real flow of chemistry between the midfield and attack today. Agree. Bruno was comparatively quiet today. Bruno still hasn't hit that groove. He needs to step up. Yeah, it would have been better if Amrabat was actually constantly in the midfield. Felt like Mount and Bruno were in different minds. Hoyland didn't have many chances. It's still the same situation like it was with Ronaldo. No support whatsoever. I mean, Hoyland found himself with a couple of chances. So he had that one where he went through, when he went through on goal with the goalkeeper and it was saved off the line. Then he had the chance when it came to the cross. When he had a header, I think it was from a corner. I don't know. Hoyland, I don't want to be too critical of him, but it is a question mark over when it comes to Ten Hag as well, because we kind of don't need players who need to build up to become the players that they are. We need players who are immediately available and ready, and they're going to give us 7 out of 10s now. Hoyland, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think from what I've seen he's that guy. I think he needs time to develop, which we don't really have. United don't have time to develop. It was yeah. But yeah, those are my final thoughts when it comes to that match. I think complacency hit. This team should be looking at that result from the Palace game earlier this week where we scored and won 3-0 and thinking we need to beat this with a first teamers, but we didn't see it. We saw the passing, great, but we didn't see any clinical finishing. We didn't see people saying, this is going to be my game and taking it head on. And this is where we've ended up with less points than Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Even with the referee decisions against us, like, we need to start scoring goals. Why do we struggle to do this? Ilmi, like video boys, cheers, man. Yeah, he definitely needs time. I felt like we rushed into Hoyland playing 90 minutes football. Ilmi, honestly, I think until the Glazers go and sell the club, we will be the same. I just hope that happens soon, but you never know with United. But yeah, I'm probably gonna leave it there, ladies and gents. Another disappointing result. The league is almost it's almost fully out of our reach. I mean, Aston Villa are scoring 6 goals against Brighton, and we could hardly score 1, and we can't score a goal against Crystal Palace. Something needs to change, and the system. We either need to go back to counter-attacking football, or Ten Hag needs to just put different players in that team, because something needs to change. We're watching the same thing over and over and over again. It's going to drive anyone insane. So yeah, I'll leave it at that, folks. But appreciate you tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you on the next stream. Godspeed.